So let's suppose you're an anxious person. All right. And how does that show up in you? You go to a party and you start worrying. Why? Why does a party seem so frightening? Because you think people are judging you, and judgment lowers your position in the social hierarchy. That's how judgment works. It drops your self esteem to zero, and as a result, reduces your natural attractiveness. So, you end up in an awkward situation when you find yourself in society. And what do? You tense up. You don't dominate the situation. It's not the end of the world, but it doesn't help you either. It's a natural reaction when facing someone who feels like an oppressor. You shrink, you avoid the gaze of the predator, you close off inside and stare at the floor. And in your head, you think, what do people think of me? Am I doing everything right? Do I look stupid? How ridiculous I am. I want to get out of here. Sweat pours down. That's all about you. You're thinking only about yourself. Your thoughts are tangled. Your eyes don't really see. So, what do we say to such a person? Don't tell him, stop focusing on yourself, because he can't. That's like saying, don't think about a white elephant, and then all you can think of is the white elephant. You can't forbid someone to think. What you should tell an anxious person is, look at others, observe them, because if you look at others, you can understand what they're thinking, unless you're completely detached from society. And yes, that happens. Some people lack social skills. They don't go to parties because they can't even introduce themselves. No one ever taught them how to behave. Such people are perfect candidates for behavioral therapy. This is how you help them realize the importance of adapting to the social world. But most people aren't like that. They do have basic skills. Even if they're nervous introverts, they can still communicate with at least one person. Why? Because they focus on him, just like I'm focusing on you now. Here's a hack. When you speak to a group, never try to talk to everyone at once. That's too abstract. Focus on one person. For you, that person will represent the whole group. And you know how to talk to one person? That's easy. Once you focus on your conversation partner, rather than on yourself, you shift your attention outward. And when you start observing, your automatic mechanisms kick in, and you're no longer tense. If I'm staring at the floor, I don't know what's happening with you, and I create an obstacle in our communication. It's like playing a musical instrument and hitting the wrong notes simply because I'm not paying attention. That's why the all seeing eye is at the top of the pyramid. The key to winning in all forms of social dominance is vision, attention. Be attentive. That's the essence of it all. That's why the Egyptians worshipped Horus, and why Horus saved Osiris from the depths through the power of attention. What do you notice first? What your right hemisphere sees as unusual. It grabs your attention and says, something's wrong here, but you look away. That's a mistake. That's exactly where you should be looking. Don't be afraid of the strange or the frightening, because even if it scares you, that's where the valuable information is. That's why it's useful to engage in discussions with opponents. They give you information you don't already have, and that's a great thing because it helps you grow. Who knows? Maybe one day that knowledge will matter. Your opponent might point out your mistakes while also talking a lot of nonsense, but at least in something, he'll be right, and you'll be able to say, thank you. I'll work on that. I'll try not to step on the same rake again. And here's another reason why fear and dread can bring something good. They act as messengers, bringing bad news, but also warning you about what really matters. Yes, it's difficult, but so what? Life is hard,